Ever since I was a youngin', I was into rapping. 20 years later and I'm still here yapping. Guess I got so much to say, so I'm trying to educate all of us. I hope together we can elevate. Time flies and our life is moving so fast. What's the forecast? Good vibes to be broadcast. So come and chill with me as we let the bad vibes blow past. This is Shout Out Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Shout Out Podcast. I'd like to start once again by thanking everyone, who's been showing so much support. They've been liking, commenting, sharing all the messages that come in. We're really grateful, and it keeps us motivated, and it's a really nice feeling. So I just want to say thank you. And even on a personal level, I just wanted to share something with the audience. My life in recent times have taken a very positive turn, and things are looking very good professionally, personally. So I'm in a really good space, and I just wanted to share this with you guys and wish you guys also all the best in life. All the people who are succeeding, congratulations. All the people who are struggling, I wish the best for you. Keep your head up. Life is all about ups and downs, and it's all about how you make it through the hurdles and obstacles. So all the best, positive vibes like our show is always about. And back to the spotlight, which is the guest for today's episode. Happy that she's here with us because she and I also share this positive outlook on life, which I really keep talking about, you guys know. And she's multi-talented. Obviously, she's a musician, very well-renowned fashion designer as well. And a very interesting story that I just found out right now is that for the first time she drove a car, and she drove her car from her place to my place here for the shoot. So welcome. Welcome, Bambi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And how's life been recently? What's been keeping you busy?
It's good. The lockdown, everything stopped for a while.
Right.
But now with I was telling someone again this morning that even Corona cannot stop love. So so we're back in the business. We have started doing our bridal gowns, and we're quite busy. Yeah.
Okay. And recently, when we were just talking about, scheduling the shoot for today and all, you were saying you wanted to make it a little bit in the evening because you wanted to spend time with your son today.
Yes.
How was that?
Yeah, my son came yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
So I was able to spend time with him yesterday. Today was church, and I got ready and I came here.
That was nice. Yeah. I don't think I've actually met him. Maybe, at a wedding or something like that. But you see the pictures on social media and turning out to be a fine, handsome young man.
Now I've been banned from putting his pictures.
I saw that. I saw you post something like with his permission and stuff, right? Everything.
It's like...
But they're growing up.
Yeah, that's what.
Just about this positive outlook on life. Because I've said this before, but till very recent, I was like a very negative. I always looked at things in a negative manner, and I feel that I'm, embodied it a little bit now, that positive vibe and this outlook of life, and trying to look at it in a positive way. And it's taken time to develop that. But I feel like I am a positive person nowadays. But about you, how did that come to be? You always have this, we hardly meet, but we've on social media and all, I see. And that stuff, for people who don't know, it radiates off the screen also. When someone's posting positive comment or content, it just, you feel the the vibe. So how did that come to be for you? You seem to be a very positive person, that's why.
I'd like to think that I am.
Yeah.
I think the change came about 8 years ago when I got divorced.
Okay.
I became another person, really. It was such such a turning point in my life. It was as though my life ended and another life began. It was as though I got another chance at life. So because when that life ended and another life began, it was as though I was seeing everything for the first time, appreciating everything for the first time, having a renewed interest in life and everything that came along with life. So I think if I were to say if there was any turning point, it was at that point of time. And so I don't know whether I do try to be consciously positive sometimes. There are times when, life is a struggle. Life
Right,
is not
right.
easy,
Of course.
you know.
Yes,
And
yes.
work is a struggle, or the daily the daily routine of life is a struggle. And I think it's a choice. Being positive is also a choice.
100%,
You choose to be
yes.
positive. You choose to not to how do you say, not to focus on the negative things, but you choose to look at the brighter things in life. So
Right, I totally agree with you on that, because I
Yeah.
keep saying this also, you know, like life is obviously not easy. It's going to be lots of there's going to be a lot of struggles, and you know, in everyday life, in our everyday lives, but we get to choose. That's the important thing. We have the power to choose on if you want to focus on the negative or the positive. That's on you. All the positive and negative things in life is beyond our control,
yeah.
but we get to choose where we want to focus our
That's
energy
what-
on, right? So that's nice. And also another thing is, you know, I feel like lately I've been like over like, you know, preaching like trying to be like a motivational
not?
speaker, but like, you
Why
know,
not?
be positive with friends, family and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've found that like when I do that, I feel even better about myself, you know, like that whether or not it's helping them, I mean, I feel like I'm doing something good with it. So yeah, in a selfish way it helps also.
No, it does.
Yeah.
It helps. And even the words that we speak. I
Right.
mean, I teach my son that. I mean, many things that I teach him, but one of the things that I teach him is to always look at the bright side. And I think, you know, when things happen, it's important to look and focus at the bright side. It's important to, you know, an unfortunate incident may happen, but you can always look at the bright side.
Right.
And I think once we change that focus, it makes it's easy not to be negative.
Yeah.
It's easy to be positive.
Exactly. And but it is like you said,
Yeah.
it's like a habit that you have to develop,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You can't just at once be like, I'm a positive person.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes I find myself still looking at things in a negative way, and I have to like take it back and say like, you know, oh, there has to be some good in this. But on that topic,
Yeah.
one place where we shouldn't be positive is with the corona, right?
Yes, that's true.
How has that been for you, like this whole year and a half, the personally and professionally also? How's it been?
Yeah, it was different from last year, because last year we were quite busy even during the lockdown. We were making masks and you know, hospital gowns and all that for
Okay.
people. So we were busy. This time we entirely closed down for about 2 months, you know.
Okay.
But again, looking at the positive side, I think for me it was good. As in, of course, everything stopped, earning and everything stopped, but it was, I would like to say it was a very transformational period for me, because I lost friends that I knew, and especially two young women, very good women who were like sisters to me, younger
Okay.
sisters. One I don't think she had COVID, but the other one had COVID. So that, like, it was like one died, I think on a Tuesday. No, on a Tuesday. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, on a Tuesday. Then there was a 1 day gap, and then the other one lost her life. And I was so devastated. You know, I'm at home, I was alone, and you know, so many things just go through your mind. And for me, it was as though and because I was not working, I had the time to think. You know, when sometimes when you're working, you don't get the
realize and
opportunity
what's
to
happening
think,
also
you know.
around you.
You don't get to absorb and
Yes.
to feel the emotions also. So I realized, I mean, I went through this time of thinking, what are the things that are important to me? You know, is my life just about designing and making beautiful clothes and making some women happy and making myself happy too? But is there life more to my life than this? And I'm still asking, and I hope that I will get the answers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so nice. I mean, I have a feeling this conversation is going to be very philosophical. Yeah. But it's nice because
know.
when you were saying that, it just resonated with me, because at times in our life we have to like step back and just reassess our whole life. You know, how much time are we giving to our work, our family, our friends, and whatever it is, and sort of reevaluate the whole thing and know where our priorities are also, right? So that's a very nice thought. We started this last episode, and I hope this becomes like a fixed part of our podcast. It's called the Shout Out.
Okay.
Very unoriginal name, since our podcast is already Shout Out Podcast, but I'm going to start by giving a shout out to a fellow Naga. It can be a business, it can be a professional page, it can be anything.
Okay.
And then after that, I'd like you to give a shout out also.
All right.
So this shout out goes out to Mamas by Grace. This is you were also featured there very recently. It's if I'm not mistaken, it's just on Instagram. I mean, I've seen it there on Instagram. It'll pop out, so you can check it out. And it's run by Zedino. And why I appreciate this is because it's basically showcasing our Naga women, especially mothers, and it's showing their struggles, their trials and tribulations, shows their love of motherhood, and it's a very unique perspective for me to read, and I found it really nice and a very positive thing again. So women, I'm sure you'd be interested in checking this out. Men also, for a change of perspective, you should go check it out. It'll definitely come out. Mamas by Grace. So that's my shout out. And you?
And mine, I got it. I want to give a shout out to they call, I think she's called it's called Sprinkle Love. So _sprinkle_love_, and she's on Instagram, and she makes all these beautiful mask strings, and I use them for my glasses, so that I don't lose my glasses. So they're beautiful. So please check her out. Yeah.
And like you were just mentioning that this is just a small thing, right?
Yeah,
they're just starting up.
Very small.
So, but I like that. I was telling you, it makes more sense to be shouting out and promoting these type of, instead of well-established, whether it's a business or a page, if you like. And if you watched our episode, have you watched any of the episodes? Okay.
Yes, I have.
just to check. Yes. But if you watch, then you'll know that I always ask the guests to take us through their childhood, sort of, so that the audience also get to see a glimpse into how Bambi was when she was growing up. So I just want to take us through your childhood, basically.
I think I must have been a very irritating little girl because I think I was very oversmart. I think I was very precocious, and and if I remember anything much about, if I look back at my childhood, I remember, playing weddings. And I would take the curtains from the house and make my cousins dress up as brides. And there would be peach trees and cherry trees in the garden. So I would pluck the flowers.
Where was this? Sorry,
I'm so sorry.
This was
in Kohima.
Okay, so you were born and brought up in Kohima?
Yes, I was born and brought up in Kohima. And this was in Mission Compound.
Okay.
In that big house where it's now
Rajapur. Yes.
So in the garden, and I would get all that and dress them up. And then I would play the part of the pastor. And then I was pretty precocious, and it was a happy childhood. And
How about schooling?
I did my...
How was your experience?
Yes, I did I think up to class 2, I studied at Baptist English School. At that time, it was known as Baptist English School. Right. Then I got transferred to Little Flower School. And then I passed out of that. Then I did my 11th and 12th PU at Patkai. Then after that, I went to Bombay, St. Xavier's, to do my BA.
Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna get into it. Obviously, your career and your fashion designing. But when did that start? That passion for it? Because you were the story about you dressing your cousins up is evident that it was very early on. But when did it sort of when was your moment of clarity? I want to be this.
I think I was around 8 years old.
Oh,
yeah,
that's early.
I knew that this was what I wanted to do. So school was, I was not a bad student. I worked hard. I was not a bad student, but my interest, almost all my notebooks had drawings in the back pages, and it was all I wanted to do.
Okay.
Then I finished my 11, 12. Then I wanted to go and study fashion straight away. But at that point of time, how our parents' generation, my kids
Minimum
have to be graduate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I had to do that, and being the eldest and all that, you know, that pressure.
Of course.
So I went and I did my BA, and you know, now I tell my parents, my BA was a waste of my time and a waste of your money. And then they get very irritated. But I mean, it's not entirely true, because I did learn so much, you know.
I'm sure.
Experiencing college life and all that.
Right.
So yeah. But,
yeah, that you mentioning that just reinforces my view about our education system also. About how we're not just our parents forcing us, but like the system is set up as such, you know, like, and if you could have gotten into designing like by 12th, or even if there were courses for that to start at class 10, you know, it makes so much of a difference, because you hear these stories in Europe and all, where like kids have started learning a craft, and then they hone them from such an early age, class 4 or 5, to follow their passion.
That's true. And there are, I mean, now especially even in India, you can go straight do Bachelor of Fashion,
right.
So or Masters of Fashion, Masters in Fashion. And even those days, I don't know whether there were any courses in India, but at that point of time, fashion was something that, gosh, I must have been one of the first people,
I think so, right?
I don't even know where I got the idea, but
So where did you do your fashion design?
I did a tailoring course in Bombay. Then I went to Australia.
Oh, you were in Australia. I was not aware of this. Okay. So were you there for long, or?
I was there for 2.5 years.
Okay, so that's quite a long time.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So that was all fashion designing related.
Yes, all fashion.
Okay. And when was this roughly?
It was like, I think gosh, I am so ancient.
I don't want to put you on the spotlight.
No, it's okay. 1999, and I was there for 2000 millennium.
Okay.
But I got not the courage, but I finally took the step to get into fashion design after a long time. So after I did my BA, it was like total. My life is like, when I look at my life, it's like Moses wandering in the wilderness before coming to the promised land. Yeah. So I went, and right after graduation, a few years after my graduation, I went and I was in YWAM, Youth with a Mission.
Okay.
So I was in ministry. Then I was in the band Blood and Fire with YWAM as well. Then only after that, I took the step to go into designing. Okay. So it was
And how was the journey when you first got into it? Like, where did you start, like, your actual career?
After I finished my studies in Australia, I came back and I used to make bridal gowns, but I didn't take it seriously, really. And I would just make wedding gowns and then save money and travel. But it was not like a career.
Business. Right.
And in a way, I feel terrible for saying this, but I was ashamed of my own
capabilities.
Yeah. Oh no, of my own career, of my own calling.
Okay,
because at that time, the way fashion designing was looked at was not very positive.
I totally get it.
Yes. And it was looked more like entertainment or something that was shallow, especially back home. It was not regarded as an industry. I know people's perception is changing now, but that time, and even for me, I couldn't embrace who I was entirely. So I would do a little bit, then travel off, and I was in the comfort of my home, with my parents and all that. And it was only 8 years ago that I really, when I really had to be out on my own, and I took it seriously. And
so this was just 8 years ago when you actually fully committed, full time, Yes. Okay, but you've been doing it for a long time.
Yes, I've been doing it.
Yes.
I've always, and people considered me as a designer.
Okay.
Even then, but then for me to really embrace it. And so even when we travel, when you're filling up the visa forms, you have to write your career, occupation. And I would be hesitant. I used to be hesitant to write fashion designer. And then for me, my little boy was about 5 years old when he said, "Mama, people ask me about what you do, what does your mama do?" Then he said, "So I tell them that my mama is a cloth maker. He was being a cloth maker and a designer, you know. So my son, being proud of me doing that was sort of, for me also, I felt like, you know, I have really come full circle, you know, like really embracing who I am and being proud of that. Yeah.
That's so nice. You touching on that, I think like how you said you weren't comfortable or even like say to that extent proud of what you were doing. It's totally understandable, but the positive is that this day and age, like the younger generation of parents and you know so on and so forth is changing, and I say this a lot, but it's sort of like unfair also to the elder generation because theirs was another time, and I totally understand that. But like, you know, when it comes to you saying fashion and then me especially, I keep saying for music and sports, up until recently it was always just considered, you know, a time pass or a hobby, like, you know, okay, take your piano classes, but that's not your career, you know, or sports, go play football in your school team. So but that's changing, so I think we can all clearly see it, you know, like parents encouraging their kids to take up different professions and all.
And I think like my parents' generation, our parents' it was you know, there was no internet, there was no, you know, and so they only interpreted life and life's choices from
as they saw it, right?
So I mean, I have no
of course,
you know, we can't blame them, and now thank God, like you mentioned, things have changed, so
and with your career, like in specific relation to fashion designing, what would you like call your highlight? I mean, not like, you know, accolade wise or anything, but like what are you most proud of with your okay, you have something.
when my garment was chosen to be featured, it's now kept in a museum in London.
I saw this post.
And so, you know, because I think that was always something that I wanted. I always used to say, I want to design clothes that can be put in a museum. Because for me, it's also not just designing fashion, but it's also my medium of art.
Expression.
You know, like people use paint, people use stones, or you know, to do sculpture. I use fabric. So that was, you know, I feel so happy.
Can you just tell us a little about it? Like, I mean, we'll put up that picture of you. But can you just how did it happen? And you know,
somebody got in touch with me. I think they emailed me, or somebody from the Horniman Museum in London, and I think it was one of the biggest museums. And they got in touch with me. I think I was referred to by Peseyie Nongkumar. He's a brilliant artist.
Yes,
he's based in London.
follow him. Brilliant.
And so that's how they got in touch with me. So they asked me whether I had like a scarf on it, or you know, a small piece of whatever accessory. So I said, I don't do accessories so much. If you want scarf, I can make, but I don't have with me. But I do mainly garments, and I sent them a couple of photographs, and he fell in love with the clothes, and he said, yeah, please, and all that. And then we had this very you know, back and forth interactions via email. Then finally I shipped the dress to London.
Congrats. That's that's such a nice thing to have, you know, like to be proud of. That's an accomplishment, big achievement. And I always think about, like, so you specialize in bridal, or
no, I didn't. I did general design.
Okay.
I did general, you know, it was called, the course was called Clothing Industry Studies. So bridal specialization came from work experience, trial and error, and a lot of prayers, really. After I came back, I didn't have the privilege. I always say I didn't have the privilege to work under someone. I've said this in an interview somewhere else also, but I couldn't work under someone. I came straight home and I started working. So whatever that I learned was just through books, reading, and praying, a lot of prayers, and just learning.
Trial and error and all that. Yes. Okay, that's so nice. But you mean you didn't have the privilege to work under someone in the sense like a mentor? You didn't have someone to guide you and all that?
You know, of course, our teachers were all mentors, but you know, I always think to work under someone is, you know, to be an apprentice under someone is such a great
that is
opportunity,
a privilege. Yes.
You know,
especially if you find the right person.
Yes.
So, but that's nice that you learned. I can appreciate that, learning it through trial and error and being motivated enough to learn on your own. Was bridal dresses always your passion?
Yes.
Because that story obviously of you being a kid.
Yes,
So you knew that you wanted to get into this as a designer also, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm asking this because now you have been designing for a long time, and do you have an idea of how many dresses you've done?
No.
Okay, so I'm sure it must be very high.
Yeah.
Like the number of dresses, considering the amount of years you've been doing it. So I'm interested in knowing what's the bond like, because for a bride, as we all know, I also got to know how important it is. But yeah, the dress is such a significant symbol, or I don't know if symbol is the right word, but it's an important part of their whole marriage, the wedding experience, right?
Yes.
So the fact that you have been involved in such an important part of their wedding, how's the bond like? How's your relationship past making the dress? Because I would expect, especially for someone like you, to be close with a lot of people. So how's that whole?
Definitely a bond develops, you know. That's why for me, I always feel, I don't run after brides. We don't even advertise. I feel those who are meant to come to us, they come to us. It's like predestined. It's so and also maybe also from the first meeting, because I want to get to know them, because they have come to me because they want a personalized dress. So I need to make sure that their personality, who they are, is in the dress. So when people see the dress, the people can say, "Oh, this dress is so you." This gown is so you.
I get it.
So so for me, my priority is to get to know the bride as I design, and because it's such an intimate process. It's such where a lot of emotions are also, they share their story. So I always call my little room, my office room, so much of tears and laughter within the room has happened.
Right.
There's
the memories.
There's a roll of
tissue paper.
Box are always there because there's always tears, So I don't know whether I can say it in a few sentences, but yes, definitely is a bond develops, and I'm always very close to my brides even now, and especially when I see their photographs and I see their DPs on WhatsApp, and they have a little baby now, and I'm like, oh, I feel like a fairy godmother, even though
That's so nice,
I didn't have any part to play in the baby making process. So.
But I get that. And you being the person that you are, I think, like, I expected that for you to have, a relationship past the your job being done. But the fact that, like I was saying, I'm sure the number of dresses you have and brides that you have given your service to is like so high.
Yes.
So how do you manage that? And what about the challenges also behind that? Because as we all know how important the dress is, hence the tension and stress and all that. So what challenges? I'm sure there must be a lot.
Yes, a lot.
Demands and all that.
It's very stressful.
I'm sure.
Because it's the most special day of their lives, so that pressure is already there. Or it maybe other people don't feel it, but I feel it.
Right.
I want to make sure I don't let them down. Number two, we are working with white. So white is you cannot hide anything.
Okay.
White. A stain happens, that's it.
Right.
And three, you're working with very expensive fabrics. So that also you can't mess it up.
Yes.
So those pressures. Then sometimes it's deadlines. Sometimes a bride can come at the last minute.
With some changes wanted.
Or sometimes the bride can change size, weight fluctuations.
Okay.
Or sometimes the supplier doesn't send you the correct color.
Okay.
Or the shade is wrong. It's off. So those,
I'm sure.
And they're like different shades of white. It is.
I don't know the exact, but I can.
It's so.
But considering the stories we hear of bridezillas and all, so I'm sure. No, I mean it's not like such a bad term. I'm just saying because like
I know
the stress and everything they have going on, and that being so important. I do guess they put so much importance on the dress.
But our Naga brides, the Naga girls are that way. I think we Nagas are very how do you say
more chilled out about, like not so
not kechara type. Of course, the one or two can be Kecha, and fair enough, they should be Kecha.
Yeah. It's their big day.
And the best gowns come out when they put their trust in me. That's when.
That's actually interesting.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I get that, because a lot of this, what you just said, when they put their trust in you, I've noticed this about creators, and when people are making, whether it's like you as a designer or a graphic designer making an ad also, when that constant interruption is coming from the advice and this and that from the client, it sort of tends to stop your creative process, because now you're catering to what they want instead of what you're trying to create, because like you said, it's an art, right? So when you're trying to design something, but you also have to respect the client's opinion, so that usually muddles up the thing.
And also, like, for instance, because then I understand the technical aspect,
correct,
so I know what will work, like with a particular design and a fabric, I know it will not, so if there's that constant thing,
right, and then they just say in their mind, like, I just want that, but they don't understand the whole
or sometimes even our height, we are smaller. The models that we see in the photographs wearing wedding dresses are 5'11", 5'10". So, but most brides are very, I say, oh, this may not work on your body. They're very, they're very agreeable.
Okay. So, it's coming. I mean, the pandemic is still here. It's not gone away. I wish it just goes, but it's still here. But the wedding season is coming. And you'll be obviously busy. And we all know, like, I mean, at least in my opinion, I think the main wedding season is like from whatever, September, October onwards. Is it? Or
no.
How's the actual?
October, November, December, January.
Those are like the hot dates for the, like all in demand.
My life is like,
What about the rest of the year round? I mean, of course, we hear about the weddings here and there, but I think it's very less, no? Or how is it?
There are, but it's very less.
Compared to...
And because of the pandemic, it's, the last 2 years have
of
been,
course,
like,
because of that
quiet.
pandemic. But, like, putting aside the pandemic, just say it's not here. Why are we so obsessed with trying to get married within that,
I know. I don't know. Maybe it's also the rain.
Maybe
summer, Dimapur, summer is too hot. Then
also,
the rainy season in Kohima and other places as well. So,
Yeah, even we got married in Jan. I got married in Jan, and it rained also.
It rained. So you can't... everything is ultimately in God's hands. But rains, I think, give... Again, looking at the bright side, nice opportunity for taking nice pictures, photographs,
Ours was very, very difficult.
Oh, really?
But then, like, a lot of people said, which I said, like, I'm going to believe in this, is like, it's a sign of blessing to come.
True.
And so, like,
that's true.
I'm fine with it. A lot of things might have got messed up, but I'll take the blessings part. And with music, because you've been, like you mentioned, Blood and Fire? Blood and Fire, right?
Yes.
And then after that, just tell us about your music, because it seems to have played a major part in your life also.
I think I've been a wannabe rock star for the ever since I was my first rock band was when I was 15.
Okay, tell us about that.
And we had a flop rock concert. And
where was this? Here
in Kohima.
In Kohima.
It was like so bad. And we had 4 songs, or 5, which we practiced every day for like just 4 songs. We used to practice every day. We were all 14, 15, 16, And on the final day, the speakers were bursting. They were all like all these very rough ones. It was those ancient days, So, and the stadium was packed. It was in the table tennis stadium. Our bassist, he was so drunk. Somebody had to hold him up. And the vocalist was so embarrassed. The whole song, he turned his back to the audience. So it was like, that was my first
gig.
Gig. And we were called absolute beginners. So after that, then we played with the other, joined a heavy metal band and all that. And it's...
Tell me, just share with the audience. I'm sure the people would love to know, because some might know about you. I mean, like, if they follow you, but
then
tell us your music career.
I joined this heavy metal band, and my song, I sang this Judas Priest song called Living After Midnight,
Yeah.
And then,
but you're you're a keyboardist, right?
Yes, keyboard.
And
but
you sing
no, I sang that. I didn't play the keyboard. I sang that song.
Okay.
Oh my goodness! But when you're young, you're so it's nice also because you are so stupid to not think anything.
Right.
That side of their brain which reasons is not working, and so you end up having a lot of fun. Doing things that are crazy and yeah.
This is when you say this, I
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you. About when you're young and how we don't think so much about think twice about so much about things. Like when kids are young, this advice that sometimes you hear when people say like always never forget to be a kid at heart or something like that. And then I always took it in the sense that like never be don't stop being passionate or something like that. But I've come to sort of my own theory on that is like as a kid we're so inquisitive and we're trying to learn every day. We're asking questions all the time. So
True.
I think that is what I take away from that advice is like when they tell us to always be a kid at heart, it's not about like being playful and joyful, but more about our learning. And because life should be a a learning process till the end, we should be always learning. So
I think it's both, to be playful and joyful, you know, and to be to be kid at heart. I think it's also to be childlike. So to be amazed at, seeing things, it could be the simplest things, and yet you should still be fascinated, and it should still bring you joy,
That's
and
nice.
also to be
yes.
wanting to learn and
Inquisitive,
exploring,
yes.
and I think as a designer, that's something that I hope I can find, or I hope I am retaining in a small way. I think a lot of it is lost as I grow older, and I wish it didn't get lost. But when you're young, when I looked at my designs when I was younger, it's like fearless. You're fearless. You're wanting you
exactly.
So after some time, you grow up and you mature, and you start thinking about how do you say, not what other people think, but that so many factors come and they start.
I get it.
Your designs can be put in boxes,
Get it.
and so my challenge to myself is to constantly
Break those,
push those boxes and to to be fearless.
Where would you say you are right now with your designing career? Like you were saying that you sometimes find yourself a little not as enthusiastic as you were younger. So like how do you...
Not in terms of enthusiastic. I think more in terms of being fearless in your deal, like being willing to try out new things. Bridal, you can't really push the box too
much,
far.
I get
but
that.
in terms of other clothes, like non-bridal clothes, I am trying to do that, to be not restricted by what I already know, but to be experimental and experiential in my designs as well. So I'm not fully there, no.
Okay.
So I
But
want to
then
be there.
it's still the process is going on. So
and
that's the
I'm
important
conscious
thing.
of it, yeah.
That's nice. As long as the process, like you should be enjoying the process, right?
Yes.
Often enough people lose that aspect of it. Like when we're so goal oriented and you're just focused on I need to get this job or this project or whatever it may be. We tend to lose focus of the important thing, which is we should be enjoying the process. Because I've seen many times where like people reach that goal and they're still miserable because they have suffered, they have like not taken care of their personal self while trying to achieve that that particular goal. So I think we should enjoy the journey and like have goals. That's important, but don't be too focused out there and enjoy the moment in life, right?
And also as designers or as artists, even in Nagaland, I keep thinking, I want to see young Naga artists and designs keep breaking the boxes, keep breaking out of boxes. I think because see, when we see even artists here, or let's say Qrafts and all that, once somebody does something, everybody does that.
Exactly, 100%.
And so because somebody explored that and we see that it's acceptable, we kind of
successful.
Go into that.
Everyone jumps on the bandwagon.
But we need to see more young, or I hope to see more young more and more young people breaking out of these boxes. And I think also because our society is that way, very I don't want to say strict, but there are a lot of
I
set
get what you're saying,
rules,
right?
you know,
right.
with church and society,
Unsaid
and,
rules,
you know,
right? Yeah.
So we are sometimes, because of our restrictions and we and the way we are constricted, that affects us even as artists.
I totally agree with you on this, because even with my thing, the Infinity Inc. music label, when we have artists, one thing we always tell them when they're going on about their career is that try to be original. It sounds so cliche, but like, you don't have to imitate the popular rapper, singer, whoever's out there right now. You can take inspiration from them, that's fine, but be original, be yourself. And that like how you're saying, that creativity, like pushing the boundaries, like don't let others define you. You should be exploring on your own. So I've noticed this in a lot of our artists, in whatever genres it may be, that they played very safe, or sort of just follow the trend of what's happening. And I hope that changes, really. About Windfall, because this is not Bambi K Bridal. That's the name you use for your right?
Yes.
So Windfall, tell us a little bit about Windfall. Just
Windfall was, I always say, I was telling someone, I think David, Windfall was what saved me, I think. When I was going through a very hard time. I never thought it would come true. It was just a dream that I used to have. I used to think, I'll have a little store and I'll call it Windfall. And I used to think, I'll keep this, I'll keep that. Never knowing that it would come true,
just like a daydream sort of. Like,
never even believing it would come true. It was my escape, and then, so again, 8 years ago, I think, we started this, 7, and then, and it's a little shop, but it's also my business name as well.
Right.
So everything like Bambi K, everything.
Okay, you're like
under
that umbrella,
Windfall.
sort of.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's so nice. My wife is a big fan.
Nice.
We've gotten a lot of gifts. We've bought also a lot of gifts, and it makes for like wonderful wedding presents. Like the stuff that you get there is really nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
So again, this will be obviously popped up again.
Yeah.
Do check out Windfall also.
Thank you.
Moving on to some conversations that I want to get into. I'm really liking this. It's very philosophical. I'm a pseudo philosopher.
We'll become philosophers.
Yeah.
Even me, I'm a pseudo philosopher.
But I like it. It's nice just to keep thinking about life and all the different things about it. Coming to this thing that I found it so interesting that you have a passion, you're passionate about this, which is about the space, our universe, the cosmos, right? I'm a big, I'm fascinated with it also. So it didn't seem like you'd be interested in it, but you keep posting, on Instagram.
I'm
and
a pseudoscience fan.
Me too, I guess. But just tell me, how did that, your fascination and your love for it, how did it come up and
I've always been very impressed by astronauts.
Okay.
From before, and rockets and space travel and all that, because I knew there was an area that I could never go in because of the size of my brain. So so it was something that I could never reach. So I've always been impressed by them, and so when my boy started coming to this learning stage when he was around 3-4, I introduced him to that, space travel and space. So he was totally fascinated.
That's so nice.
And so that whatever that I knew started growing, as in because I had to teach him.
Right.
And there were times where I would buy him these books on space and the universe, and we would read. And there were many times I wouldn't even understand because some are
of course,
so
very complex. Yes.
So that was how it grew. I'm still very fascinated, although there are many things that I don't understand. But one thing that I truly understand is just how big this universe is and how small we are.
Right.
And for me, again, philosophizing or how, it is very humbling, and I think for you also, because it's very humbling because we realize how small we are, how small and how really insignificant we are.
Exactly.
You know, and sometimes it's easy as human beings to get, puffed up and to think of ourselves as really the center of the universe.
Right, yeah.
You know, so, yeah. And also, something that I teach my son also, when like things crumble, when things don't turn out for him the way he wants, I tell him the universe is still in place. The solar system, the everything is still moving around the sun, our solar system. So it's not the end of the world,
That's nice. That's nice. For I've had this fascination of the space and the cosmos and everything, because I don't understand how people are not fascinated with this, because like you said, the size, I mean, we can't even call it size because it's endless, but
yes, it's
how vast it is, and like it's just mind-boggling that we play such an minuscule role in this whole grand scheme of the universe.
Exactly.
Right? And somehow, because when I was in school, if I'm not mistaken, like I had this phase for 2 years or so that I wanted to be an astronaut.
Wow.
And not wow.
Why not?
I just think about it now, and I feel like it was something like that's always been in me, because I had no idea why I wanted to be an astronaut, and I was too young to be even thinking about a career choice as an astronaut, right? But for some reason, it stuck with me for quite a few years,
Wow.
And so when I look back on that, I think like it's always been there, inherent, that love for space and universe and also. There's this thing that have you heard of the cosmic calendar?
No.
Okay. I want to just share this with you and with the audience. I don't know if you'll be interested.
Okay.
I'm sure you should be interested in this. The late great Carl Sagan. Have you heard of Carl Sagan? Yes. Brilliant astronomer, astrophysicist, scientist. So, like our universe is, I think, wait, let me just fact check before I make any mistakes. 13.8 billion years old, or so. Like the scientists have gathered evidence for that. And when you talk about like Earth is, I don't know how many, some few billion years old. Yeah, something like that, right? So when it's easy to say those numbers, right? Like 4.5 billion years old, 18 point whatever, but you can't wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
So what he did was for, I don't know if he did it for this purpose, but it's like that for me. It's like he scaled the entire 13.8 billion years that the universe has been in existence into a calendar year.
My goodness.
So that we can sort of visualize it, like, what happened. So it's like this, okay? If we are, like where we are right now is January 1st, 1 second. Like we're in the first second of the...
January 1st.
Yeah. And the beginning of the universe was the beginning of the year, January 1st, the first second. So that's when the Big Bang happened, the ultimate beginning. And the next year, exactly on January 1st, 1 second. So if it's 1 year, this is how they've scaled it, okay? Obviously, 13.8 billion years ago. So in January, the Big Bang would have happened. By... and then the universe is just expanding and something boring is happening. And August, stars are beginning to form in the universe. By May, our solar system comes into existence. By September, Earth forms, the formation of Earth. By October, the formation of the first rocks on Earth. And this is how, like you said, insignificant it seems. I mean, we should feel like that at times, because humans have been, if the entire age of the universe was encapsulated into 1 year, scaled down into 1 year, humans would have arrived at the party only on December 31st. 10:30 p.m. to be exact.
Wow.
Like that's how late we are with, or young we are in this universe. And just some mind-blowing things is like the first dynasties, like the Egyptian civilizations and all, would have happened just 10 seconds ago. And Jesus, who was born 21 years ago, roughly, would have happened just 4 or 5 seconds ago. The Renaissance age in Europe would have just been a second ago, and where we are is just like, the new year just happened and we're this. So that's how, young and how vast the universe is and how thing it is.
And it's expanding.
And it's ever expanding, right? It's ever expanding.
And they're saying that there can be multiverses, not just
universe.
Yeah.
Those are very... it's so fascinating. And like you said, like we're not like, educated in that field, and also
Yeah.
like there's so many things that goes over our head. It's
know.
very complex, but
I
at the
know.
same time it's so fascinating, and
Yes.
there's some very helpful people who would make it very simple for us to,
Yeah.
although we
Yeah.
don't get the whole quantum physics and all that.
Yeah.
But like, one thing because what you said it perfectly when you were saying, I was just nodding in agreement, because this is exactly how I feel, is that we're such a small part, like just a grain, a speck of dust, that's earth, and then we're just one individual there. And often we sort of tend to think that we're the center of the universe, and the entire world is revolving around us.
Yeah.
Oh, I have this problem, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Is it's not you're not the center. Like, we
Yeah.
tend to forget that.
Yeah.
And it's human nature, I guess. It's
Yeah.
also not easy to just forget it. But why I brought up this cosmic calendar is that regardless, in spite of us being like, so our lives, 70, 80, 100-year-old, is just like a microsecond
That's
in the
what-
cosmic calendar, like the grand thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but regardless of that, even though it's just a second, whatever you call it, nanosecond or whatever, we still have that 70, 80, 100, whatever years it may be. And there's so much we can do in our lifetime.
Yes.
So that's the blessing that we should,
Yes.
take, and then like cherish the moment that we're here, and be the best version of ourselves.
Exactly.
This is
Also,
what I took
just
away
to
from
add
it.
to
Yeah.
that,
Please.
the potential that one human being has to even affect history
Right.
or to make a difference. It's so amazing. Like
Amazing.
for
Amazing.
negative, like Hitler and all, how
Right,
they
right.
negatively
Whether-
impacted the
exactly,
world,
whether it's positive or negative,
positive,
right.
like Mother Teresa or
Exactly.
others. Yeah, it's just amazing.
And talking about one individual who, again, we're both fans of,
I know.
Elon Musk. So you are a big time fan of Elon Musk.
Yes,
I am
my
too also.
Guruji.
Yeah, you keep saying yeah, Guruji. No? But isn't it fascinating how like one guy is just doing all this?
Exactly.
I mean, he obviously has his company with thousands of employees
Yes,
and all, but
yes.
it's him. That's the person doing it. And I don't know. Okay, just tell me why. What are you fascinated about his?
About him?
Yeah. What fascinates you?
So much. Number one, because he's fearless and he's passion. And he's not afraid to go after. He has never been afraid to go after the things that he was passionate about.
Right.
At the cost of sacrificing everything. But the more I read about him, I'm just so fascinated. Even his childhood, like he just not recently, as in a few months ago, when he came out on a TV show, he said that he had Asperger's.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of this. Okay.
He has Asperger's. So he was like terribly bullied at school. For a kid who was so bullied, it seems I was just reading about how he was pushed down. These kids pushed him down a flight of stairs, and he had to be hospitalized. And coming from that, and he was a genius. He's genius. He's different.
Right,
the way
right.
he used to read voraciously. And just the way he pursued his dreams, just like he knew he was down to his last, the fourth attempt, the rocket launch.
Right.
Because all the rockets were getting burned up, and how he was willing to sacrifice everything
Right.
for his dream.
For that dream, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so
Fearless, true.
Yeah, and like some people say, all these billionaires are going up to space and all that, and when the earth needs to be saved, yes, fair enough, that's all there, but it's their money. Who are we to judge? But at the same with Elon Musk, you see the things that he has introduced to save the environment, the electric cars, the solar city,
Yeah.
all that. I think, he's so
I'm just amazed at what this man is capable of.
we should get a thumbs up from him for promoting him in Nagaland.
He'll become super famous. Please, Elon Musk. So anyway, like the things that he's involved with, but what I like about it is because all the things that you mentioned, like obviously with Tesla and the electric cars, he's trying to make a difference with emissions. And
this just to add.
Yeah,
sorry,
please,
I'm cutting you. But
please.
his dream is now, and he believes it's possible to power the whole of USA with just solar. Isn't that amazing? And he'll do it. People are laughing at him. He will.
He will.
Yeah.
He will.
Yeah.
Electric cars. I mean, like, I don't know if people know, but electric cars has always been looked and laughed at as like a toy car and all that. And he came into the picture.
Look at the
sports. Exactly. Like, so, and besides that, like, even, do you know this, his boring company who's doing that underground
travel
transport? Yeah, right. To beat the traffic of LA.
Yeah.
I mean, even things like that is like helping out.
That's
It's
true.
helping out people. And,
Yeah.
but I'm coming to the main thing, which is obviously his, I think it's an obsession also, like, you know, his Occupy Mars. Like, he wants, you know, like, he said this also, that he wants us to be multi-planetary species, right? And I find that so fascinating. But one interview, a podcast he did with Joe Rogan, I think, because he mentioned this, and this really got me thinking, is like, we know we are destroying our Earth. We know that, right? But the way he explained it was that, like, you know, the way our civilization, the human civilization right now is progressing, it's like we're just eating up the Earth, and it's just a matter of time. For time doesn't have to be 5-10 years, it could be 100 whatever years, but it's just a matter of time. So in order for our species to survive, we have to become interplanetary. And when he said that, it just, you know, it might not happen in our lifetime or even our children's lifetime, but he's trying to do something about it from now. And I just found that so fascinating.
I think he wants to die in Mars also.
You know, this I just want to ask you this. He's doing so much, like he has this $10 trillion budget. I mean, no, he doesn't have the budget, but he's quoted to have said that, you know, it's a $10 trillion budget that will require to send thousands of starships, which are going to be capable of ferrying like tons of people to start the first city in Mars. And then from there, like, you know, slowly expand and try and sort of terraform Mars, also colonize Mars, everything like that. And the way he was saying it, you know, he said, like, to get a ticket for that, to be one of those people, would cost you around like a 6-figure amount, which it'll obviously be in dollars, not rupees. But, and he was saying, like, and you could avail loans to get that. And then, like, when you reach there, like, in whatever work you're doing, you can slowly pay it off. So I just wanted to ask you this: would you take the chance, like, if you're presented with the opportunity?
I don't know about. I don't think I want to settle in Mars, but I want to travel to space. I would love to be on a starship.
Yeah.
I
That's
would
just
love to.
Fascinating. And,
but to live in Mars. And it seems, you know, with the environment, I mean, everything is going to be controlled, but we will slowly start evolving. Like,
accordingly.
I was thinking about the skin changing and the, you know, I don't want to come back and look like
but very fascinating. I think for me, I'm like, I'm such a big fanboy also, that I can just keep talking about all this stuff and stuff like that.
I'm so happy. I think you're the only person that I've met who's a fan of Elon Musk.
Okay, there are lots.
Really? In Nagaland?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice. But we should form a club.
He's there also, waving his hand.
We should form an Elon Musk fan club. Yeah.
But maybe just not, there's no platform for I don't know.
And to drive the Tesla roadster,
that is
so expensive. And imagine a roadster here, it would like not be no whatever electricity to run it.
It's amazing, so beautiful. It's broken the stereotypical electric car. And what it used to be like a toy car was always our thought of like what an electric car was.
When I saw it for the first time, I was like this villager, you know. Oh my goodness, Tesla! You know, taking video.
Amazing. And even all the features and like, you know, the autopilot.
The door.
Okay, let's move on to something else. Okay, this is like it is a sensitive topic, an issue, and I just want to make like a public service announcement type. But for the audience, a lot of people have asked me also, and maybe a lot of people don't know that like, you know, how this works, the whole podcast. So I just want to inform them also, like, just a little bit about how it happens. When I for example, I invited Bambi and she graciously accepted. So before we're shooting today, I do reach out and contact, and I ask, and we discuss a few things that we're, you know, good with talking about. And by no means is this show scripted, obviously, but why I do this is because we as a podcast, we're not trying to, just talk about controversial issues just for shock value. Like, that's not what we're trying to do. We respect the guest and their comfort zone. That's why I asked you pre-hand about, like, are you fine with this? Because I respect the guest and their comfort zone, and I find and I feel that more than the shock value of controversial headline bait, clickbait, is the conversation that we're having, and that's where I want to focus on. So I just wanted to make that clear, like, it's not scripted by any means, like it's not scripted, but definitely I do, like, we do discuss a few things so that you're just comfortable with everything. Coming now to the point about this is about single mother, like being a single mother. Okay, I'm talking so much, but I just want to add one thing before you start talking on this. A couple episodes back, Peseyie came on, right? And we were discussing about intertribal marriage because she got married to a Khasi, right? Yes. So, and after the conversation and the podcast aired, the episode came out, we were just having this conversation, and she was telling me, like, I'm overwhelmed by the response that I've gotten from people who are mostly products of intertribal marriages, reaching out to her and connecting to her, and just the interaction that's been going. So we, like, I when I heard that, I was so happy that we were able to facilitate, even though it's a small platform, but some people felt that connection, and, like, I was so happy with that. Hence, I had to say this, because when you're going to talk on this issue, I feel this is something that, of course, it's a sensitive thing to talk about, but I feel that there will be people that I hope they get to hear this and feel comfort or can connect with you on that level, right? So on that issue, on single mother, like, you told us you got your divorce. When was this? Like 8 years or?
Yeah, 8.
Right?
8, I think. No.
Yeah. So
8, gonna be 9.
I just want you to just whatever you're comfortable with talking about, but just tell us about how that whole process happened, and not about the divorce, but like post that, and like I'm sure, of course, of the stigma, because our society is such that we tend to talk a lot and judge a lot, but that whole stigma there, how did you face your trials and tribulations with the judging eyes, and also the joy? I'm sure your son played a huge role in helping you through that. So, like, I just want to hear your story about this.
I think when I look back, I was telling a friend the other day also. When I look back, I felt as though, my faith played such an important part in how I got over all this. I felt as though, and therefore I have to bring this into the, when I talk about how I felt as though God just came and covered me. I was very scared of the stigma, and that time, now it's happening more often, and I'm in my cocoon, my work and just my brides and all that, and then I hear about something that has happened like a couple of months back, 2 years back, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know it happened, Now it's more often, unfortunately, it's happening more often now. But that time when it happened, it was quite a scandal, I think. And I was so scared. But then once it happened, I felt as though God shielded me. And so even though there was stigma, yes, I did experience, but it didn't affect me. And in a way, when I talk about, remember how I was saying about getting a new life?
Exactly, yes.
And so it was like a different person that was living, and a different person a person who died,
and a new person was born, right?
A new person being born, and so this new person, the person who I am now, was not really affected. And this new person was a person who was also set free in a way from all the expectations and norms of society. Till that point of time, I was someone who was so driven to be perfect. And I wanted to be the perfect daughter, even though I failed in being the perfect daughter, the eldest daughter. I tried to be the perfect daughter. I tried to be the perfect student. That's why I studied hard, even though I hated maths and all those, even though I hated studies, I tried to be, for me, it was always first division, second division was like failure, that kind of thing, driven to be perfect. I tried to be the perfect Christian. I tried to be the perfect mother, the perfect wife. When the divorce happened, everything unraveled,
I'm sure.
But in a way, it set me free. It set me free. I had no, I did not have to cater to people's expectations about me or my own expectations upon myself anymore. You know, I could really be who I am, who I was, who I should be. And so that set me free. And because I became that, even though I knew there was stigma, I knew that people were talking, I knew that you know, people viewed at me, you know, like you know, but it didn't affect me. I didn't care. You know?
That's
so
nice.
that helped me so much. And so it was really God, my faith. And not, my faith makes me sound so holy, so spiritual. No, it was God's grace covering me and taking me through that.
Right.
And ever since then, I've been, you know, covered by Him. Yeah. Felt really feeling that He has my back.
Right.
Yeah.
The way you said it makes it sound easier than I know it must have been. Because like, first of all, I just want to acknowledge you, because like, talking about this, I know it's like you seem comfortable talking about it, but indeed, for me, I still feel like I know I shouldn't, but then that's how society is and the place we're living in, right? So like, I respect that you know, you're able to talk about this, and I really feel it'll help anyone who's sort of in a similar situation, if not the exact kind of situation. But I really hope that this reaches out to them and all. How, like you said, I also have a son, and I know, like, it's cliche to say, but like, they are world. You know, that they are our entire life. You know, everything. So I know I know. Yeah, I can say I know. Like, you know, the amount it must have meant to you, and like, how much of a role did that play? And talk to us a little bit about your son also. You know, like, I'm sure he won't like it.
No, I can. Oh, I'm sure he'll like. I consider him like my soulmate. We're more like friends. Also because he's not with me, he's with his dad. And he's totally loved by his father. And they have a great relationship. So I have him, you know, like, on certain days. Yeah. And so I'm the person who he can get away with everything. You know, I indulge him. Maybe I shouldn't, but I do indulge him. So we're more like friends. And
how old is he, by the way, now?
He's 13.
13.
Going on 21.
Oh yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
He thinks he's a grown up. So but he's growing up. So, and yeah.
And how was I just want to know the role he played in you, like, crossing this difficult phase of your life, like, because I know he's just a kid, but you know, like,
one thing I knew was that I had to be strong. I had to be strong for him. I had to be strong for myself, and I don't know how. I wanted to be someone, and I still want to be someone that he can be proud of.
Right. I'm sure he's proud of you.
Yeah. So, and and I mean, all I can say is that he's everything to me.
Yeah, definitely. Never thought, you know, I'd be saying like, before having Lucas, I never thought that I'd be saying like, you know, a thing like that it's quite hard to explain until you become a parent yourself, you know.
It changes your priorities, you know, like how, you know, your day's made when they burp well, when they poop well, you know, when it's like, then it's like, yay, they pooped, yay, you know. When they're
little
sick,
things, right?
When they're sick, you're sick. It's as though you're sick with them, you know?
I know. It's amazing also. But I'm also like enjoying fatherhood and like trying to be the best of that. This ties in closely to what we are just talking about, like, you know, with the divorce and you facing the stigma and all. This is something that I know it exists. I know of it a little bit, but I'm not too well informed about it also. I feel like I can't speak too much on it, but I do know about it. I do know that it needs to be, more awareness should be put on this, and that more things have to be done to tackle this issue also. And that's mental health. So you said this was something that you are, you know, vocal about, or very, you feel dearly about. So just in general, just first tell us about like what's your opinion on mental health? Sort of like, what's the issue with it? What are, you can just share
so
like
much, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I am a person that I've gone through depression, you know.
Okay.
I've been through depression. I've gone through times in the past, the old me, when I felt suicidal, and so I totally understand when people say they feel totally helpless, that the only way out seems,
like that.
But again, when one thing I want to stress more than anything about suicide is the pain that it causes to the people you leave behind. Is just, it's just, and so if you say you love your loved ones, if you truly love them, then you can never look at suicide
as an option, right?
It's like the pain it leaves behind is just immense, Having said that, I know that mental health and the issue of mental health is something that we don't really talk about, in our society. I think slowly it's becoming, more, how do you say, visible. I don't want to say visible, but
there are more people talking about. I get that.
But it's still, people still feel scared to talk about, or if they feel suicidal, people feel scared to talk about that. Or if they're depressed, they feel scared to talk about. If they have anxiety, they feel scared because of the stigma that is associated. But I feel more than anything, if there's anybody also watching, to speak it out, to tell someone. And because I think more than anything, to know that you are not alone is the greatest comfort in any situation in life. You are not alone and it's true, you are not alone.
When you feel like you're the only one, that's where the biggest problem lies. On top of everything else.
And when I look at my life, I'm so grateful that I am alive. Had I ended my life those those then
when
or
you
those years, I would not have been celebrating my life fully today. Or imagine the pain that it would have been left to my son. So and so one has to talk it out and to get help. I fortunately I had a very although I wasn't on medication or anything, I had a counselor? Who was a tremendous help. And to be able to talk to someone, it's so wonderful, and someone who is professionally trained.
I just wanted to ask this, whether you were professional trained or just a friend.
Professional. So it's like you're talking to that person, and then the person say, oh, it's because you are like this, so that's why you're having that. So it's like that light bulb, so I would come out of my station and say, oh, I have that self-awareness, knowing that this is the way I react because I'm like this. So I need to handle this
in a certain manner. I totally get that.
So it's number one, you are not alone to talk to someone. And number one, it's not an option. Killing yourself.
That is not
Suicide
an option.
It's not an option. Number two, you are not alone. Number three, get help. Whether counseling or medication, but get help. And don't be scared to get help.
Like I said, I'm not too well versed on this thing, but I do read about it. I see issues that are being raised. Like you said, nowadays it is becoming a little more sort of, people are it's acceptable to talk about it more publicly and stuff like that. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but like mental health, when it's at its worst, I mean the worst stage is when obviously it's like suicidal, and that's the worst stage, right? But people often sort of neglect the initial stages of mental health, which may just seem like minor problems. And I feel that when people talk about these things, it's often laughed at. Like, that's not an issue. Like, and we sort of tend to overlook these things, and people with those problems sort of don't feel comfortable to talk about it, because they think like, oh, I'm just being too dramatic or something. Like, because mental health, I was just reading a little bit, it consists of so many different factors, right? It's not just your personal, your love life, your professional career, your contentment. I mean, there's so many factors involved. So do you think it's like that the earlier stages are just overlooked? And of course that's the most dangerous one, when they've reached that level that they're contemplating suicide. But before that also, there are so many stages prior to that when people are suffering like from mental health issues. Like,
I don't know whether there are stages that I don't know.
Okay. But I mean, not categorically, but just
Yeah,
because
but
okay, once you're like when you were at that rock bottom sort of stage, prior to that, what was the build up like? You know, like
no,
because
it was
I don't
also
think it
just
came
yeah.
suddenly.
It's also like our response to, you know, like I had gone through miscarriages, so I was already feeling down.
Right,
you know,
right.
so those kind of, so there can be some things that can trigger it. You know, your hormone fluctuations, all that as well.
Okay.
So, or even, you know, women who have postnatal depression. You know, women who have done scary things to themselves and their own children, you know, after giving birth. It's totally hormonal, you know, totally something beyond their control.
Yeah, biological.
So, but number one, I also just want to say, before I forget, is, you know, a lot of creative, artistic people, not to, you know, sort of say it's a license, but because they're more sensitive, because their senses are more, how do you say,
left brain based.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the logical person and the something.
Somebody was telling me the other day about how at a art institute, about how many percent of the kids had gone through suicidal thoughts. You know, it was a huge percentage. So I think it's more when a person is creative or, you know, artistic, that you feel it more. You tend to get affected more by things around you, by circumstances, by you know. So yeah, that I just wanted to add. Coming back to stages, I don't know how I can answer your question.
Right.
But
it wasn't even. I just thought about it because like, of course, like I said, the ultimate last deadliest stage is that. So prior to that, people don't.
Oh, how to stem it when it's beginning.
Before it reaches that,
okay,
you know, like you were saying, the choices.
Yes,
like,
but I think it's also just speaking to someone about it.
Yeah. Okay. This I want to just touch on this quickly. Talking to someone.
Yeah.
Because of the stigma that's attached with all this, right? People they're not comfortable to openly go to a counselor, right?
Yes.
Psychiatrist or whatever it may be, right? So have you tried this, or I just want to know if this will help? Is like just talking to family and friends also.
Yeah, I'm sure,
right.
of course, you know, when you're holding it all within yourself, it's like bottled up, you know, and when it's bottled up, it's not healthy. It'll start rotting inside, you know. So when you bring it out to the open, that's when you get your healing also. So
right.
Yeah.
So this I just want to say, like, I tweeted something about this, not exactly with mental health and all, but I was just tweeting something about like we shouldn't focus too much on outside validation for our happiness. Right?
I agree.
Yeah, that our real happiness comes from within, correct? But in this scenario, I mean, I can totally understand how like a person's validation of like encouragement or something would make such a big difference also, if you think about it, right?
That's true. That's true. I mean, the most healthy place a person can be in is when, like you said, you're not looking at outside for validation or for love, or, you know, and I always say this to my siblings, also my youngest sister. I always say, don't look at someone else to love you. Love yourself.
Right.
Don't look at someone else to take care of you. Take care of yourself.
I agree.
You know, don't look at someone else to make you happy. Find your own happiness. You know, that when you're able to do that, then you are in a good place. But if unfortunately for many reasons you are not able to do that, then you can always reach out to the ones who are closest to you for that, to get that, so that you can come back to that place of you know. Yeah,
just drifting a little bit away, but on this topic, like I think with the rise and the huge boom of social media and how it's like it plays such a big part in our life.
I know.
I was just talking you know, with the editor about this in the sense, when you are not on social media, or let's say you're banned from social media because of whatever reason, like, you know, a lot of people have been, their accounts have been, you know, cancelled because they said something wrong or whatever. It's almost like you lose your voice in this day and age. Imagine not being allowed to access Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. You'll feel like you are in a sense voiceless, right? But it's that huge, and so I feel like that validation thing, it's linked too closely with social media and the impact that it has on how people are doing things just for a like, or even for a comment for someone to say,
Exactly.
I agree with you, or I support you, or,
Exactly.
that is becoming a dangerous trend. Like that outside validation is the weight it's holding is more and more and more, and the person's own value is going less and less, right?
Yeah. And hence again the importance, the importance of looking at oneself,
right? The
or
happiness
our worth,
within.
and our faith, and looking at our worth that comes from God, yeah.
I do feel like that true happiness, if such a thing exists, is within ourselves. And if we look outside for validation, it's not, we're not going to find it there. It's nice to have a friend, a family person say nice thing about you. That's fine, but we shouldn't confuse that with our real happiness, which should stem from us. And if we're really happy about it, then it'll come. Someone replied to this about this tweet and saying but there's a struggle with always finding happiness within yourself.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, I replied back saying that that's the thing. Like, what's happiness for you? Is it like a goal?
Yeah.
Right? Is it like this person that you want to marry? Is it whatever it may be? What's your definition of happiness? And if we become too focused on that goal and that thing, we lose sight of the journey that's ahead of us, and we're just trying to look at the end of the rainbow, the so-called rainbow, right? And I feel the importance of enjoying the process and life, and I think that is often overlooked, right?
And actually, it's the little things.
Exactly, the little things in life.
Like walking in the rain. I would love to walk in the rain. Or playing in the rain. Or just little things, like seeing a beautiful flower in a little corner. Or watching your son smile.
That's nice.
Yeah.
These things are often overlooked.
Yeah.
So I think I really appreciate this conversation. It's like the whole positive vibes thing, like it's, I don't know, it's becoming a little cheesy also for some people, but I think we need much more of this positive. Let's all hope we make it all together, and like stop looking at other people as competition, and instead like there's enough for everyone.
Yes,
and,
exactly. Yeah. There's enough place in the universe for everyone.
Exactly. Even if it's on Mars.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to quickly touch on was environment.
Yes.
Environment. You said this is another issue that you and this is something that I have an issue with also. Like but again, I'm not too well equipped to give like such things. But I want to environment.
Yeah. I mean, neither am I. I'm no expert, but I think having a child that that
change, that spark, that
and also like looking at their future. How will the planet be 100 years from now on? Our grandchildren, and like the things that I feel closely about, I think passed on to my son, like my love for space travel, and that, and again my concern for the environment. And once my son, I was just discussing with him about the environment, and he said, "Mama, why have you all done this to us?" He said,
that's wow.
Yeah. And he was talking about the destruction that right now our generation is doing to the environment, that is robbing their future. And I think we have a responsibility, as parents or as adults or as people who have in our big or small ways. I mean, if you're in a place of position where you can affect major change, I mean, do it. Even if you're in a, like, ordinary people like us, we can affect change, I'm so concerned. Like, I was reading, I think it was June or July, that report came out on climate change, the latest one. And if things go the way it's going now,
in the same trajectory,
then by 2050, Kolkata will be 2 meters underwater. Bangkok also, and it's so scary. And so like, and if the temperature on Earth rises up by 1.5, then it's
over
1 point. But already it's happening. This year has been the floods, the wildfires, and so it's going to get really difficult for our kids to live in. And the way the glaciers are melting, the way, and so really, unless, I mean, unless we all, we can't say, oh, let the major countries do it, or let US, China, make the changes.
Right,
No,
right.
we can't. We have to do in our own way, whatever we can. Yeah.
Exactly. I like with climate change, or just like the earth has been experiencing so many different things over the billions of years that it's been in existence, right?
Yes.
So there are things that are beyond our control.
Yes.
That is understandable.
Yes.
But what is within our control is us, the humans,
Yeah.
right? And like you said, we can't always expect just the big people to, like, it starts with each and every one of us. Whether it's like you said, just a simple thing like talking about it on a platform, even if we have just a few thousand subscribers or people watching, we're trying to do our bit.
Yeah.
Small things like littering, for example, I'll tell you, is like I had this bad habit. I admit, like I used to. I want to give a shout out to my wife, my lovely wife, and my good friend Aso. These two people are like sticklers for that, like about littering. And also I've learned to, like, when I'm about to, like, okay, like things like that. But it's the small things, like you said, it's the small things, and whatever we can do in our way to, whether it's by spreading awareness, talking about it, if you're in a position to influence and make policies or things, obviously we hope that they do it like that.
Yes. Like, I mean, my dream is to see, all our houses in Nagaland, we have electricity problems, right? So solar power,
Right,
we just, of course, the initial cost would be more, but later on, and that could be the answer to our electricity problems, or, I mean, just as individuals, reducing our use of plastic, even turning off the light,
Right,
the current,
conservation of, yes.
little things like that we
Exactly.
can or reduce, reuse, recycle, because I mean, like, the worst case scenario would be the earth, going back to ice age, and then again the whole thing starting, after a billion years or something.
It's sad to say, but like humans are the culprits. Like, I don't think any other species on Earth is ruining their own environment that they're living in. It's us. It's like we're the virus.
Yeah.
We're coming and destroying the ocean, the earth, everything.
Yeah.
The air.
Exactly.
And it's so selfish, and it comes back to all that about us being so self-centered and
That's
not
what.
thinking about what the impact that we have on our entire planet. Right.
So coming back to that, I know I'm talking about my son so much, but
please,
the other
please, I
day
love
he
it.
said on the phone, he said, Mama, if humans are trying so hard to terraform Mars, why can't we terraform Earth back to Earth? And I think we can all try to, terraform
smart
Earth
kid.
back to Earth. Yeah.
I love the fact that he's thinking like that.
Yeah.
It goes to show that he's being brought up very well, but to have an outlook like that is very impressive for a young kid to start thinking like that. I really appreciate that. That's nice. But one thing you said that I totally agreed on when you start talking about this issue is that after you had your son, right?
Yeah.
Likewise with me also.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that we always thought about, climate change. Okay, environment. We should be environment friendly. But when our kids come into the picture, then our natural instinct is to start thinking about their future.
Yeah.
And when you think about their future, now you think about all this even more. And so maybe it takes a child to start
That's
that
true,
environment activist in you. But
Yeah.
if that be the case, then so be it. It's an issue that, like I said, I'm not too well versed in, and I mean, like, I don't know too much about it, but I do, obviously, because this is our home, we're living on it, so
Yes.
we should take better care of
we
it, right?
should.
Yeah. And one thing, like, just the audience, I'm not saying that you guys litter, but like, we should try and encourage this thing of littering.
Really?
I've picked up on it now, and I hate it when I see people littering, and like, I always say, like, Kohima can be such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
We don't even have to do so many other things. Just keep it clean, and it'll be like such a beautiful place.
That's
So
true. I think it's become quite
much
beautiful.
more, yeah,
with the
yeah.
smart
Of
city.
course, smart city. Yes,
I hope they bring it to Dimapur as well.
Yeah,
we need
yeah.
the smart city program in Dimapur too.
definitely.
Yeah, so give a shout out.
The shout out to the smart city, but they're doing a great job.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
really.
impressive what they're doing. We're gonna wrap up.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this, but just before we wrap up, just tell us a little bit about your wish address contest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, so I just
Yes, this there are many people, not many people, let's say many people, to flatter myself. There are many, no, many sounds so. There are some women, some girls who wish they could have a dress that's designed by me, you know, but for many reasons they cannot, you know, and some of our dresses are expensive too, you know, and some dresses even I don't think I can afford, even if I was getting married, you know, because we do use very expensive stuff and all that. So I thought, why not give an opportunity for someone to be able to wear a gown that is done by us, you know, which normally she may think she may not be able to get a chance to wear. So we put that out, the contest out, and there's been like tremendous response. So within a few days we will declare the winner.
That's nice.
So it's very exciting. But you know, one thing I want to tell you is people say, oh, you're such a kind-hearted, you know, so sweet of, what a good heart. But when I was reading this response, I was thinking, no, you know, it's not because I'm good-hearted, but I think when we read their stories, actually it makes us good-hearted.
Ah, that's so nice. So
You
well
know what
put.
I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes,
Yeah.
I totally get that. I totally get that. Yeah.
When even in terms, even like, I don't want to even use charity work, but even when we do things for others, like I go to Cambodia. I mean, Cambodia is a place that's very close to my heart, and I've been there a couple of times. And whenever I go, I want to go and meet the like street kids or you know women who are in sex work and all that. And you know, sometimes I had this in the beginning. I had this thing. The second time I went, I had this goal. I went with a goal of saving a girl who she was sold into prostitution. She was 16 years old and she was sold into prostitution. And I had this goal to save her. But luckily, she had escaped by the time. And she escaped. That's so nice. She escaped with the brothel owner's son. Whoa. She fell in love. She was sold to the brothel owner and she escaped with the son. They fell in love and they eloped. So I was very happy. But you know, you go with that thing of you're doing something for...
Right.
But I realized I do it for me. You know, we do it for... Because I need to be saved. You know? And in the process of saving someone, actually you are the one getting saved. You become, you know.
I just want to add here, like exactly what I was saying earlier. You know, like trying to be good to someone we're actually being selfish. But if that's the case, then so be it. By helping you, and then you know, like we see how much joy it brings, and then it makes us want to be a better person genuinely. You know, so I totally agree with that. It is selfish on our part, but. We're doing it for a good cause.
Yes,
so good, right?
You know, and I think, I do believe we become better people.
Right.
We are touched by, you know, it does something.
Of course.
It does something in us.
100%. So. We just talked about this in our last episode also with Colomero.
Okay.
About like, I want to encourage everyone who's watching this episode, you know, today, that if an opportunity comes by where you see that you can, you know, they can help, you can help in any way. And like I said in the previous episode, the amount is not what matters. It's the thought, obviously, and the gesture of giving. Try and help out people if you're in the position to. If you're not, there's so many other ways you can be helping people also. But I think we should cultivate this habit as a people and be a little more giving, right? And it'll help us so much in the long run. That's what you just said right now is going to help us in the long run, because it makes us feel good and makes us want to be a better person also, right? So. It's a great talk. I really enjoyed today's talk.
Thank you for having me. We became philosophers.
Yeah, I know. I love it. We sign off, like I'm sure you've seen also, with the message. So the first message is to family. The second message is to friends, especially like, you know, someone you've lost touch with, you know, an old schoolmate, whatever it may be. And the third one is to the Naga people in general. So we'll sign off with that. Wow. You think about it. You can frame your message. Okay, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Let's go. The message.
I'll have to look at the camera.
I think that'll be much better. Yeah.
To my family, I want to say what you know, but I want to say this: I love you. To my friends, especially the ones that I have lost touch with, I hope I can get in touch with you as soon as possible. To the Nagas, to every one of you who's watching this, don't be afraid to go after your dreams. That's it. Thank you.
That's short and sweet. That's so nice. Once again, Bambi, thank you so much.
Thank you,
when you
Asalie.
first agreed to come on, I
Thank you.
was really happy, because I think like these are like you amongst a lot of other people are like I want you guys to be heard. You guys are already famous and all, but like to a larger audience and like let people hear your story. And I really appreciate your courage to talk about all like sensitive issues and what some people consider taboo also. But like I respect that and I admire that, and I enjoyed the philosophy session that we had. I hope you can join some other time also.
Yes,
It'll be
thank you.
great.
That is if I can make it back home.
Yeah, same journey.
myself.
All right, that's a wrap.
Hey.